So Sushant Sharma is an alumnus of IIT Guwahati, Director of Cognitive Studies and Performing Arts, Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata. He is currently working as a software professional at Nevai Technologies. He obtained his BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Guwahati. He has a rich experience of over 15 years as an IT professional working with well-known organizations as CATS Private Limited, TCS, Tech Mahindra, and Romeware. After his meeting with Dr. T.D. Singh in the year 2000, he developed a keen interest in the domain of synthesis of science and spirituality. Under the mentorship of Dr. T.D. Singh and his students, Sushant has been exploring the studies at the interface of foundations of computer science, mathematics, and consciousness, and consequently has been delivering many talks in various conferences, seminars, and workshops organized by Bhaktivedanta Institute. His study interests include foundations of set theory and computer science, Gödel's incompleteness theorem, and Vedanta. Besides, he is serving as the Director of Cognitive Studies and Fine Arts at Bhaktivedanta Institute.
So, this has been my favorite topic. I have been speaking on this topic since time immemorial. So, but in this presentation, I have added, I think for the first time, I'm adding the word awareness. Let me hold it like this. So, the awareness is the missing link between AI and HI. AI will stand for? And HI for? Oh, very good. HI for human intelligence. So, actually, I could have safely replaced HI by just I, means intelligence, because animals also have intelligence. All the 8.4 million species, all of them have intelligence. That's why the lioness knows that its cubs are missing. It may be mother of 5 cubs. Even if 1 cub is missing, she calculates, she computes, and she comes to the conclusion that her cub is missing. And you see that each and every animal is actually computing, calculating. In fact, you know, the living beings are the actual computers. So whatever computers we see, the laptops and all those things that are formal computers, artificial computer. The real computation and calculation is done by the real intelligence, the intelligence bearing living entities, animals, humans, whatsoever. But let's be specific to human intelligence, because we know we are devising all these artificial intelligent devices only to serve human beings. You don't expect artificial intelligence to serve animals. So specifically to human intelligence. And I have, like, from the very beginning, from the very theme of this presentation, the very first slide, I have like spilled the beans by like concluding that awareness is the missing link. I should have kept it as a secret, but it is too obvious. This fact is too obvious to hide. Everyone knows that awareness is the missing link, because it is a missing link. Why does everyone know? Because everyone has awareness. Everyone has consciousness. We don't need any rocket science, or even the primitive science to prove, to deduce that we are conscious. We have consciousness. We don't need it. We know we have consciousness because we are conscious, so we know we have consciousness. So, and awareness is one facet of consciousness. Consciousness is not just one element. Consciousness is a big field with a lot of dynamics. There's awareness, there is cognizance, there is free will, intuition, sentiments. It's a big field in itself, consciousness. And the small spiriton, that is us, the soul, is having this wonderful kingdom of consciousness. And awareness is one of the many facets of that consciousness. So I could have actually replaced it saying the consciousness is the missing link between AI and HI, but more specifically, it can very easily be awareness. Okay, so awareness is the missing link between AI and HI. So let us go further. And as expected, this pointer will not work from the beginning, but later on it will work. And it will not work now also. So next, please. Human intelligence, yeah. So, so Turing test. Turing, how many of you know about Turing? Everyone knows, no, not everyone knows, especially. So Alan Turing, you can safely call him the father of modern computers. Oh yes, Alan Turing is the one who actually proposed this idea of CPU and memory and a memory tape and all this data input and output and the programming logic. It was Alan Turing only who actually gave the prototype in a thought way. But later on, now we see that that thought has materialized in the form of small chips and even in our mobiles. So he proposed that he proposed of a test, Turing test, wherein there is a questionnaire, the C who is asking questions to, and there are two candidates separated by a wall, two walls, A and B. The A is a human being and B is a computer. And he's asking questions, the questions are being heard, and he's receiving the answers from both A and B. And if the candidate C is not able to deduce, is not able to differentiate that on this side is a computer and in this side is a human being, which means he's not able to figure out that I am actually hurling the questions to a computer. Then we say that that computer, which means A is the computer here, it has passed a Turing test. If the computer is responding like a human being, then it means the computer has passed the Turing test. So if you ask a very big calculation to the opponent, so the computer is actually supposed to behave stupidly. The computer is not supposed to even answer very promptly in the zest. I am competing. So the moment the computer takes, few microseconds to reply to your long calculation, that very moment you will know that it's a computer, it's not a human being. So the computer has to behave like a human being, sluggish or ordinary, unless the human being is definitely Shakuntala Devi or something like that. So, so Turing test means if if the computer is, has been able to imbibe the cognizance and the speed and all the cognitive abilities of an ordinary sane human being, then they will say that computer has passed the Turing test. So this is what, so we say that the computer, so many AI proponents, they started thinking that in such a case, when a computer is actually able to behave like a human being, is able to intelligently answer our questions like a human being will. So we can safely say that that the computers are thinking. We can safely say that the computers are thinking because that's precisely might be happening in the intelligence and consciousness of the human beings. These are the strong AI proponents, the hardcore artificial intelligence proponents. They started proposing that. So there are two categories. The first one, they say that the computer has been able to emulate the thinking ability of a human being. And the second one, second category people, they say that the human being itself is a computer. You see that human beings thinking itself is some kind of a algorithmic process comprising of very tedious computations and calculations. So the former ones are called as weak AI proponents, weak AI. And the second category is called as strong AI proponents. So we have got a little problem with weak AI, but the strong AI is definitely something which many, at least we cannot endure, in the sense that someone comes and tells us that human intelligence is some kind of a computation process going on. You are a machine. So this is something which we cannot digest. And there is one more gentleman, many gentlemen who actually could not digest this fact, including Penrose and the one who is actually going to be the focus of our talk here. Next, please. Can you go to the previous slide? I just want to, yeah, next slide now. So what is thinking actually is, there are hypotheses. What is thinking in the first place? I think our Swamiji asked this question. I think this very easily is the favorite question of Swamiji. What is thought? I guess you asked us long back. So what is thought? What is thinking? The four hypotheses. The first hypothesis is called as behavioristic hypothesis, which denies that anything besides acting intelligent is required. So which, they say if anything is there which is acting as an intelligent entity, you can safely say that it is thinking, even if it may not be having intelligence. If it is acting intelligently, if it is mimicking the intelligence, you can say that it is thinking. That is behavioristic hypothesis. The dualistic hypothesis, they hold that besides or instead of intelligent seeming behavior, thought requires having the right subjective conscious experience. It means thinking requires awareness, thinking requires consciousness. Without consciousness, thinking is a wishful fact. Thinking is not possible without consciousness. Dualistic hypothesis. Identity theoretic hypothesis, they hold it to be essential that the intelligent seeming performances proceed from the right underlying neurophysiological states. They say that some neurons are firing in your brains. The brain is the production house of intelligence. Brain is the production house of thinking. Brain is the production house of consciousness. They just stick to these phenomena going on in the brain. They call it as identity theoretic hypothesis. And the last one is functionalistic hypothesis. They hold that the intelligent seeming behavior must be produced by the right procedures or computation. This is what strong AI is. They say that strong AI, they say there's computations in our brains, computation is going on. Some algorithm is running, which is giving rise to this thinking. So they say that awareness is an emergent quality of some algorithm running in our brain. Consciousness is an emergent quality. This is very much akin to when they say that life comes from matter. Life comes from matter or consciousness emerging from some algorithmic process. They both are actually one and same thing. And these are the four viewpoints by Penrose in Shadows of the Mind. Penrose has written Emperor's New Mind and he's written Shadows of the Mind. He has given these four polarities. The first one, he says that, there are four different polarities. The first polarity is all thinking is computation, which is again strong AI. I don't have to repeat it. In particular, feelings of conscious awareness are evoked merely by the carrying out of appropriate computations. Second is awareness is a feature of the brain's physical action, and whereas any physical action can be simulated computationally, computational simulation cannot by itself evoke awareness. He says that this awareness is a feature of brain's physical action. It is not computation, but it's another kind of some physical action, not necessarily computation. And since it is not computational, it can be simulated, but that simulation will not give rise to awareness, which is weak AI. And polarity C says that appropriate physical action of the brain evokes awareness, but this physical action cannot even be properly simulated computationally. She says that even the physical action is definitely there, but it cannot be emulated or it cannot be programmed by any computer. And polarity D says that awareness cannot be explained in physical, computational, or any other scientific terms. I think this is the Vedantic perspective. The consciousness or awareness, it cannot be explained in any physical or computational or any other scientific terms. So these are the four polarities which are like very rampant in today's culture. So John Searle, who is a strong opponent of strong AI, he too proposed, like during this test, this argument. Actually, this reminds us of the famous Schrodinger cat's paradox setup. But here in this, instead of cat, we have a human being actually, who is Surly himself. And there is this room, imagine this big room. And the man here in the room, he is doing it, he's doing a job. Just listen to me very attentively, please. He's doing a job. What he's doing, he is getting some input from the left window, and he is supposed to pass some output from the right hole. Okay, this much is clear. Now, the caveat is that the input and both input and the output are to be in Chinese language. You know, the questions are in Chinese. What is the input? Input are some questions which are in Chinese, and the output also has to be in Chinese because the audience is Chinese. These two guys, the left and right ones, they are Chinese people. But the man himself who is in the room, he does not know Chinese. And he has to answer the question which are in Chinese. So this is interesting, right? So, but luckily, that man has been provided with a rule book using which he can do symbol manipulation. He can, manipulate symbols with another pattern of symbols, this much pattern of symbol, Chinese symbols with another pattern of Chinese symbols. And in this way, actually, over the time, over the years, he can train himself to actually answer the questions in Chinese, but he himself does not know Chinese. So I like to ask you, any one of you, that do you think he understands what he thinks, what he's doing, the man in the room? He does not know Chinese. He does not know the question. He does not know what he has answered. In fact, he does not even know that he's actually answering to a Chinese question. He's just doing simple manipulation there, simple manipulation. He does not even know that he's answering to a question in Chinese. Sorry? He is simply manipulating the pattern, replacing the pattern. This is called as pattern manipulation. So he's not understanding anything going on. He's not aware of this, he's not aware of what he's doing. He is not aware of what he's actually doing. He does not know. He's simply doing the symbol manipulation. So next slide, please. So this is, just previous only. So Saleh said, in a similar fashion, the artificial intelligence system, computers, we can imagine that computer, Malab, you replace that person, Saleh, with a computer. That computer is getting inputs, which are like our programs, and it is producing output. So I am pretty sure everyone must be using ChatGPT now, right? Everyone must be using ChatGPT. So let's come to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is like very helpful and very obedient. Only if it knows that it is obedient. So ChatGPT is the person there. You are asking questions in English, and the ChatGPT is answering in English. But in the machine language, actually, computer does not understand English. Everything gets deformed into bits, bytes, and machine language. Ultimately, it's zeros and ones only. Zeros and ones. And the output is also zeros and ones, but it is eventually presented to us in English answers. The ChatGPT does not know what it has done, according to Sirleaf. No? Don't consider it as my conclusion. Yeah, sometimes human beings also give false answers. That's what I say now. If a computer is actually giving false answer like a human being, it means it has actually passed the Turing test. so 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 Chat GPT, it or any artificial system, they are actually doing some kind of manipulation, symbol manipulations, or pattern manipulation. Matching is one of it. Matching is just one part. There are a lot of things going on in there. Our Prabhakar ji knows machine language. We may be throwing some more light in his lecture maybe. But throughout the process, the Chat GPT or any AI system, it is not aware of the answers of the questions. It is not aware of, what it's doing. Nothing. Once what happened after I got a very nice reply from Chat GPT, I told Chat GPT, thank you. I said, you have done a wonderful job. I wrote this. So the Chat GPT replied me, thank you very much. So I asked, next question was, you are a machine. You claim that you don't have human-like gestures and expressions. So why are you thanking me? Do you mean it? Thanking you means, do you mean it? So then he says, you are right. Actually, he said it. Yeah, I don't mean the thanking you. So they're honest. So I said, keep your thank you with yourself. Okay. So is there anyone in the room who could not understand this setup? Everyone is pays with me? Okay, next please. So now there are definitely certain objections to this argument, and this is where it actually gets very interesting, because these objections and how Surly actually answer these objections actually kind of strengthens our own idea that how awareness cannot be mimicked, awareness cannot emerge. So what are the different strategies for the objections to this Chinese room argument? The first one is you outrightly reject the intuition that the Surly in the Chinese room does not understand Chinese. So this is, they say that Surly is speaking lies. Surly claims that he does not understand Chinese, but we reject. Surly does understand Chinese. This is first strategy. Second strategy is to concede that he does not genuinely understand Chinese, but find an alternative explanation of the lack of understanding that does not rule out strong AI. He says, okay, we accept that you do not understand Chinese, but you saying this, that you don't understand, that person does not understand, we can give you, a substitute. We can replace it with another setup which understands this, as an alternative explanation of the lack of understanding. And third is, in the similar line, concede that the Chinese room does not understand Chinese, but show how we might build up from Chinese room to a system that does understand Chinese. So do you see this? There's a difference between point 2 and point 3. Point 2 is says he does not understand Chinese. We agree. And the point 3 says the Chinese room does not understand Chinese. So what is this? I will take you to this. So let us go to the next slide. So this is called as the system's reply. So, Surly is getting many replies from the opponents. In fact, Surly himself disguised himself as his own opponent and is anticipating many replies actually. Actually, even before those opponents could reply, he only programmed all those replies and he's giving rejoinders after rejoinders to these replies. So the one reply is the system's reply, which adopt the strategy number 2. What is strategy number 2? He says, these people will say, okay, the Surly does not understand Chinese, but the whole room does understand Chinese. Because the whole room has got this rule book. They have got the whole, logic. So the CPU may not understand, the CPU may not be aware, but when you consider the whole paraphernalia, then your awareness can emerge from this setup, not from the person itself from this setup. So I am the room, I do understand. Surly may not understand, but I do understand. This is strategy number 2. So how does, what is the rejoinder for this? Surly says, let the individual internalize all of the system by memorizing the rules in the script and doing the lookups and other operations in their head. All the same, Surly maintains, he understands nothing of the Chinese, and neither does the system, because there isn't anything in the system that isn't in him. If he doesn't understand, then there is no way the system could understand, because the system is just part of him, he said. So these guys were saying that Surly is a part of the system. He may not understand, but the system is a whole, system can understand. So Surly says that first of all, it is a very ridiculous argument, ridiculous reply. Then secondly, he suggests that the person, Surly himself, he can actually imbibe all the qualities of the room. Whatever is in the room, you can very much pump it in the person himself, in which case now you cannot differentiate between Surly and the room. It's like Achinta Bheda Veda, oneness is there, which means now Surly is not a part of the system, it is very much the system itself. But even in this category, when Surly is having, when that person or the artificial system is having all the paraphernalia embedded in him, he is still very much doing the pattern manipulation, and he is still not aware of the process. In this way, the rejoinder is. Second reply is robot reply. This which adopts strategy number 3. Remember, I told the strategy number 3, room may not understand. Surly may not understand. Okay, room may understand. No, room may not understand, but we can give another, what do you call, setup. So they say that we can have a robot, and the whole Chinese room can be placed in the head of the robot. So how would it help? So when the whole Chinese room is set up in the head of the robot is having camera, robot is having all those sensory equipments. It can get senses from vision, hearing, smell. It can get sensations from it. It is having sensors. So in which case, those sensations may be going to your Chinese room, and in which then there is a causation for this manipulation of it, for the pattern manipulation. Now, since there are causation for this pattern manipulation in the form of sensations, then in such a case, now your Chinese room can actually understand, because now it can actually differentiate that this particular pattern is coming from this sensation, this is coming from this sensation. Then it will slowly start understanding, and the understanding or awareness can emerge. Understanding and awareness, I can use synonymously actually. Okay, so how does the rejoinder help? The same experiment applies. I do not understand anything except the rules for symbol manipulation. By instantiating the program, I have no mental states of the relevant, meaningful, or intentional type. All I do is follow formal instructions about manipulating formal symbols. This robot reply tacitly concedes that cognition is not solely a matter of formal symbol manipulation, since it adds a set of causal relation to the outside. He says, actually, this robot reply has actually done a favor to me. How? Because they are saying, these robot guys are saying that cognition is not solely a matter of formal symbol manipulation. They themselves are saying. So in this way, he's presenting this rejoinder. Okay. And the next one is the brain simulator reply. The brain simulator reply says that instead of Surly, we can actually have a brain, or Brain means brain-like setup, because our brains are having trillions of connections, and there are so much of firing going on in our brain. We can simulate everything in principle. In principle, we can actually simulate whatever is going on in our brain in some setup. And since these are these firings only which are actually giving rise to sensations. So using the simulation here of the brain, now we are actually giving sensory powers to the person inside. Okay. Now the rejoinder is, have the man operate an elaborate set of water pipes with valves connecting them. He says his neurons or all these nerves are there. We can actually imagine water pipes in place of them. This is interesting. The program now tells the man which valve he has to turn off and on. Each water connection corresponds to synapse in the Chinese brain. And the whole system is rigged so that after turning on all the right faucets, the Chinese answer pops out at the output end of the series of pipes. The man certainly does not understand Chinese. He says instead of the man doing the symbol manipulation, now he can do the pipe manipulation. And neither do the water pipes. The man does not understand Chinese, and even the pipes, water pipes, also do not understand Chinese. The problem with the brain simulator is that it simulates only the formal structure of the sequence of neuron firings. The insufficiency of this formal structure for producing meaning and mental states is shown by the water pipe example. So any kind of formal setup will not give rise to emergence of awareness. Next one. And the combination reply is like a disparate attempt. Is saying, okay, we'll combine all things. I mean, we will have this Chinese room with a brain simulator, and it will be kept in the head of a robot. Now, certainly, the awareness will emerge. Rejoinder, please. 0 times 3 is not 0, multiplied by anything is not only. Rational and indeed irresistible to accept the hypothesis that a robot had intentionality as long as we knew nothing more about it. If the robot looks and behaves sufficiently like us, then we would suppose, until proven otherwise, that it must have mental states like ours that cause and are expressed by its behavior. However, if we knew independently how to account for its behavior without such assumptions as with computers, we would not attribute intentionality to it, especially if we knew it had a formal program. So we came across a new word, intentionality. Intentionality is also one facet of consciousness. So in this way, actually, there are many replies, and Surley is answering all these replies through his rejoinders. They are very famous replies. I have presented only 4 of them. Next, please. In essence, what you want to say something? Okay. 1 more minute. Okay. So he's saying that these symbol manipulation or pattern manipulation, they only deal with the syntax of the input and the output. The semantics is definitely, which is completely out of the coverage area of any artificial formal system. Actually, we can safely replace artificial by formal. We call it artificial intelligence. We can actually call formal intelligent. Artificial system, formal system. So what is the difference between syntax and semantics? Syntax refers to the structural rules that govern how symbols, words, or phrases are arranged to form valid sentences or expressions. It's about the form rather than the content or meaning, such as natural language or programming language. Whereas semantics refers to the meaning behind the symbols, words, or sentences. It's concerned with what the expressions represent or convey rather than how they are structured. For example, this statement, the cats drove the car. It is syntactically correct, but semantically it is not correct because cats, they do not drive the car. Okay. So I think I can skip this slide. Next, please. So Gödel actually proved that not only semantics, even syntax also will not help, because there are don't don't think that syntax will always help you. There are moments where syntax will definitely deceive you. That's what his incompleteness theorem is, which says that a system maybe you have a formal system with lot of syntax formatted prepositions, but there will be, in this system only I can syntactically create what do you call, a statement which this system cannot prove. I mean, we don't have to go to semantics to attempt trying that. That statement is called as Gödel's statement. It says that the formal system cannot prove its own consistency. Okay? This is called as famous incompleteness theorem, which means, in short, I'll just say that computers are definitely not semantically oriented, but even the semantics also are also something which computers cannot completely. Syntax also is something which computer cannot do justice to all the time. Next slide, please. So these were the 4 arguments. What Surly he actually, with his famous Chinese room argument and various replies through various rejoinders. Next slide, please. He actually disproved very, easily, or through his rejoinders, the first and the last one, the behavioristic and the functionalistic hypothesis. And then he says that now we are left with only 2, dualistic hypothesis and identity theoretic hypothesis. This identity theoretic hypothesis is very much, which is like part of the brain simulator, akin to brain simulator, whereas dualistic hypothesis is close to our Vedantic concept. We need conscious. Thinking is not a standalone element, like our Swamiji says, that consciousness is not a standalone element. We need a soul which bears the property of consciousness. Similarly, thinking is not just a standalone independent element. For thinking, for awareness, we need conscious experience. So the concluding slide is that human intelligence, in the case of human, we have intelligence plus awareness. And in case of machine, we have just only symbol manipulation and symbol manipulation. That's it. There's not even intelligence there. What is intelligence is simple symbol manipulation, pattern manipulation, matching, and all these things are going on there. And thank you very much. I mean this, thank you. Unlike the chat GPT.